The Newton Needham Regional Chamber recently asked its members to take a survey about what impediments to success they could face in 2019. The top concern for business owners and hiring managers was attracting and retaining a great workforce. Chamber President Greg Riebman explains why these businesses are facing this issue.
We surveyed 228 of our members, different companies of large and small, both in Newton and Needham and surrounding region. And 69% of those businesses overall told us that hiring, attracting and retaining new employees or keeping their existing employees was going to be a critical problem for them in 2019. The problem is even bigger when we look at our larger companies. So large employers of companies with more than 100 employees or more, 89% of them told us that hiring would be a big issue for them this year. So it's a huge issue for the biggest employers. It's a huge issue for our downtown merchants who look for that help to stay open at lunchtime or to stay open on the weekends. It really has been every sector of it. Hourly workers who maybe get a job in a sandwich shop or work in a local store, and the tech workers that work over in the N-Squared Innovation District, life sciences workers. The problem hiring has really been across the span, both really high-paying jobs, jobs that pay, like I said, hourly wages, maybe minimum wage or a little better than minimum wage, all the way up to jobs that pay well over $100,000. All of these companies are having trouble hiring this year. There are a lot of other things that are related to that. Coming in second and third, not surprisingly, for anybody who lives around here knows, traffic was a really big concern, public transportation, and affordable housing. And of course, all of those things, having a place for people to live, being able to get around, having public transportation directly ties into our ability to be able to hire people. So they're all really interconnected problems. These are big problems that are really difficult to put together and to try to find a solution for, but we're actively working with the MBTA to make sure that when they rethink bus routes in the coming year, that they consider how people get to Newton and Needham and the surrounding area. We think about shuttle bus routes. We think about other kinds of public transportation solutions. And we're advocating for housing, even in a time when I know Needham has really built a lot of housing lately. The new apartments at the Kendrick made a big difference, I think, for immediately businesses there, giving people an opportunity. But we think probably that we need more housing based on the statistics say that housing in Greater Boston is a huge problem. Since 2010, the Greater Boston metropolitan area has added 110,000 residents. We have 110,000 more residents than we did in 2010 and 148,000 more jobs. But there's only been 35,000 new housing starts during that time. Clearly, you'll see that we're creating new jobs, more people are moving here, but we've not been able to keep up with the pace of housing. Most of the new housing that's been started is happening in Boston and Cambridge. The suburbs, the inner suburbs, really need to pick up the pace on housing. And as much as Needham's added to the supply, it's not been enough to really meet the needs of all the employees that want to work here. The main thing we learned from this survey is what employers are telling us is that Needham is a special place. It's a great place to want to work, but in order to keep attracting companies, in order for those companies to feel good about growing here as opposed to making their next growing move or their next location somewhere else, we're going to have to find ways to improve the transportation, improve traffic access, and find ways to help get employees here because there's just not enough workforce. Now, we know that actually there's a shortage of employees throughout eastern Massachusetts. It's not just the Newton Needham area. But I think the problem is more exacerbated here because the millennial population can't find apartments out here, can't find opportunities to live out here. So when you're looking for that young workforce, we're competing with downtown Boston for those jobs. That's a really difficult thing. And in general, we just need to recognize that the future to our growth, the way to become more prosperous, the way to increase our tax revenue, the way to bring great companies that pay good paying jobs here is to help them find a way to hire and bring more people here.